Hi, this is Mackenzie Johnson, and she's going to be visiting with me about my website that I've been doing this whole semester. And I'm Robbie Wagstaff, and I'm in Brother Meeker's class. So, just go ahead and ask me the questions that you've already asked.
Okay, so Robbie, how did Brother Meeker decide what country you're going to be adopted in?
It was completely random. He had a bowl, and he had all of the countries in it, and we just picked out a random, and I got Fiji.
Nice. Even though Fiji is a tourist country, are there still people in poverty there?
Yeah, there's a big percentage of poverty there. There's about 45% that are poor, and um, I think that yeah, it's an extremely poor place. But since it is a tourist town, people don't really um, aren't really worried about the poverty. Um, so that's yeah.
Okay. What kind of what kind of food do people eat in Fiji?
Since Fiji is on islands, obviously, there's a big source of fresh produce and fruits and vegetables and a lot of seaweed. They're really famous for kokoda or something like that, and it's freshly marinated and in fresh squeezed lemon or lime juice, and it's left to cook for several hours, so it's really marinated really good. And Fijians also like to eat with their fingers. So I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about the millennial goals for Fiji, or for the whole developing world countries. And world leaders committed to fighting the root causes of poverty, hunger, disease, and inequality. All member states agreed to the goals. So the United Nations proposed 8 millennial development goals for developing countries. These 8 goals are to be reached by 2015. And the 8 goals are to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, 2, to achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empowering women, reduce child mortality rates, improve maternal health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. 7, ensure environmental sustainability. 8, develop a global partnership for development. So yeah, these are the goals that they decided to do because they want to better pretty much world. And so they decided to take these developing countries and to make goals so that we can have something to reach for. And now I'm just going to start talking about how Fiji is doing with these goals. So the first one, eradicating extreme poverty and hunger. This goal for Fiji probably will not be achieved by 2015 because there are 45% of Fiji struggling with poverty and hunger. And Fiji is estimated to need an additional 30,000 houses over the next 15 years. And the lack of stable government that promotes economic growth is one of the main causes of poverty in Fiji. So they just don't have a super good government. And the second one, to achieve universal primary education. I think that Fiji is doing actually pretty good with this, except they they just kind of need money because they don't have really good schools, really good like a good environment at schools. They don't have really have electricity and stuff. There are 93.2% of children entered the school system in 1992, but the rate for the 8 years of primary education was 20.9 the same year. Many children drop out of school. It must be the responsibility of the government and the parents to make everyone stay in school in spite of poverty, academic failures, or laziness. I think a lot has to do with that is because it's kind of a poor, well, some of the Fiji is really poor, and so they are forced into the workforce because they need to provide for their family, and so in return that doesn't give them a really good education because they have to drop out and just get a job. And but besides that, they're actually doing pretty good, and I don't know if they'll achieve it but by 2015, but it's definitely improving. And the third one is gender equality and female empowerment. Girls have less free time to do anything because the girls have household chores and the guys don't have to do that, so that's why the girls have a lot more chores to do and the guys are, like I said, they're forced into workforce instead of getting an education. And number 4 is reduction of child mortality. And the most common in Fiji is the prenatal deaths. Not just health problems are factors of death rates. Poverty, low education level, poor water supply, and environmental conditions also contribute to deaths ages under 5. So infant mortality per 1,000 lives is 13.1. So it's not too bad, but it definitely could use improvement. So in child mortality is due to prenatal condition, acute respiratory infection, diarrhea diseases, heart diseases, malnutrition, and asthma. And this all can be improved if we have money, and because it all just takes like medicine and just stuff like that. So, and the next one is improving of maternal health. Maternal rate is reasonably well controlled in Fiji. So it's the ratio is 30 to 40% per 100,000 live births. So it's not too bad, and I think that it will probably be achieved in 2015. And the maternal mortality rate in 2007 was 23. So it's getting a lot better. And I think that's it for maternal health. And to number 6, to combat HIV, AIDS, and other diseases. HIV in Fiji is really good. It's 0.1% prevalence. It's like a super good, but there's always a worry about if it's going to spread like a lot. So, but malaria is one of the most common health threats in Fiji, and people with all ages living with HIV in Fiji is less than 0.5%. So that's really good. And the most serious immediate health issues is the increase in non-communicable diseases like diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and cancer. So they're not really worried about HIV and AIDS, they're just worried about other diseases like the non-communicable ones. And the number 7 is ensuring environmental stability. Since Fiji is on islands, there's always going to be natural disasters, so you can't really help that. But we can always help the environment by like cleaning it up and stuff. But that's kind of Fiji's responsibility. You can't really make someone clean it up, so I don't know if that will get achieved in 2015 just because there's so many natural disasters. And the last one is developing global partnerships for development. Fiji has made available to citizens the benefits of new technology like cell phones and internet. Debt services as a percentage of exports of goods, services, and income has been less than 2.5% between 2000 and 2009. This is because external debt has been less than 20% of total debt between 2000 and 2009. So it's actually really good. I think that it will be achieved in 2015 because Fiji isn't really against having partnerships with other developing countries. So the last part that I'm going to talk about is how many goals should there be? Should there be all of them, and why? I think that these goals are really good stepping stones because we always need something to work up to, and I think these are all really legitimate goals because there's always room for improvement for the developing countries, especially poverty. It's a huge one, and so I think these goals are really good because it gives us something to reach for, like goals to reach for. And even though if we don't get them all achieved by 2015, they're always going to be improving if there's goals set. So what is really needed in Fiji? I think when it comes down to it, all you really need in Fiji in the poor areas is more money, and I think one approach that we can do is to tax the higher class in Fiji because there's a big, huge range of income that is in Fiji. So I think that if we, even though I don't like taxes, I think that it would be good for Fiji to tax the higher class, and that will help and then immediately give it to the poorer countries or the poorer areas, I guess. And I think that will help a lot because all you really need for poverty and hunger is money that can be given. And also, I think donations, maybe we can all pitch in and just get enough money for these really poor countries. And how can Fiji improve in a meaningful way? Honestly, I think it's just money. That's the biggest situation that Fiji has. All of the problems that they have is just the lack of money in some areas. So, what does the future hold for your adopted country? I think Fiji has a bright future because knowing that most of the goals are either going to be achieved by 2015 or to be improving, I think that it's not going down, it's always going up. So I really think that Fiji is definitely improving all the time, and most of the goals are probably going to be achieved by 2015. So yeah, I think that's it.